Starting February 18, 2027, every smartphone and tablet sold in the European Union must have a battery users can remove and replace themselves. No specialized tools required, just commercially available screwdrivers. Replacement batteries must stay available for at least 5 years after the last unit of a model hits the market. The regulation passed in 2023 as part of a broader e-waste reduction package. 150 million smartphones and 24 million tablets are sold in the EU annually. Less than 40% of that e-waste gets recycled. Most discarded phones are not broken, they're just slow, and the battery doesn't last through the day anymore. I'm Elle, I have a PhD in computer science, and I use data analysis to spot patterns in geopolitics and economics. Here's the actual catch. Batteries that maintain 80% capacity after 1,000 charge cycles plus IP67 waterproofing are exempt from the removability requirement entirely. Apple's been hitting that mark since iPhone 15. The EU's own public product database confirms the iPhone 17 Pro Max is officially rated for 1,000 cycles. Google Pixel 10 Pro also hits 1,000, Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra 1,200 cycles. Nothing Phone 4a Pro, a sub $500 device, is rated for 1,400 cycles. So the EU wrote a regulation forcing user replaceable batteries, then carved out an exemption that lets manufacturers skip it if their batteries are already good enough. If we strip away the bureaucratic language, the institutional logic becomes clear here. The regulation aims to tackle e-waste by extending device lifespans. Officials estimate it could save EU consumers up to 20 billion euros by 2030, so that is significant. The primary driver is batteries degrade, people replace phones that otherwise work fine, and that generates millions of tons of electronic waste annually. The exemption exists because if a battery lasts long enough without degrading, removability becomes less critical. A phone that retains 80% of capacity after 1,000 cycles will last 4 to 5 years of daily use before hitting that threshold. That's already longer than most people keep their phones. If we zoom in on how Apple engineered its way out of compliance, we'll see Apple publicly opposed user replaceable battery requirements for years. The new CEO, John Ternus, literally told reporters in interviews that Apple thinks making products that last is more important than making them user repairable. Meanwhile, Apple quietly retested iPhone 15 batteries and updated its specification from 500 cycles to 1,000 cycles, so that is double, back in February 2024, 2 years before the regulation takes effect. Apple told Inverse there is no hardware or software change, just updated testing methods. The timing lines up perfectly with the EU's 80% at 800 cycles requirement that was proposed back in November 2022. So the piece most coverage misses here is that this doesn't just affect batteries. The same EU eco-design regulation mandates 5 years of operating system and security updates after the last unit of a model leaves the market. Security updates must ship within 4 months of release, functional updates within 6 months. That regulation went into effect June 20th, 2025. Manufacturers must also keep critical spare parts, by the way, batteries, cameras, speakers, charging ports, available to professional repairers within 5 days for 7 years after sales end. When thinking about how regulatory frameworks create unintended incentives like this, my book Awake the Practice of Critical Thinking in an Age of Soft Lies walks through this exact dynamic. It's available in ebook and audiobook. Subscribers get 10% off, and you can grab the first chapter for free in the description links below. Here's where the battery regulation intersects with a harder problem. Replaceable batteries extend hardware lifespan, 5 to 7 years of software support extends usability, but software ages faster than hardware. A phone with a brand new battery and 7-year-old chipset will struggle with current apps, AI features, and operating system demands as well. Samsung explicitly states many of its AI features require the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor. Older chips will just not run them. So you can keep the hardware functional for 7 years, yes, but the software ecosystem moves on without you. Google and Samsung already offer 7 years of updates on flagships. The catch is that their 7-year timeline starts from the device launch date, not end of sales. Under EU rules, the 5-year minimum begins after the last unit sells. If Samsung keeps selling the Galaxy S26 for 2 years, they'll need to provide updates until 2034, which is 9 years post-launch. That either forces manufacturers to extend support timelines or discontinue older models faster. We've actually got a whole playlist on how Europe is systematically building tech sovereignty. Check it out after this video. The battery and software regulations fit the broader architecture. When you layer replaceable batteries, mandatory software support, spare parts availability, and energy efficiency labeling together, you're looking at a policy framework designed to shift the entire consumer electronics model away from planned obsolescence towards longevity, unlike what the people in the US can actually say for their markets, right? The global impact will likely exceed the EU's borders, however. Most manufacturers build phones for global markets, not region-specific hardware lines. Maintaining separate designs for Europe versus everywhere else adds cost and a lot of complexity. When the EU mandated USB-C, for example, Apple eventually adopted it globally with the iPhone 15, including markets where the rule did not apply. If compliance in one major market shapes products everywhere, then EU regulations effectively set global standards. What happens next will depend on how manufacturers respond to the exemption. If hitting the 1,000-cycle threshold is achievable through better battery chemistry without redesigning phone internals, we should expect most flagship devices to qualify for the exemption by 2027, perhaps. Apple is already developing electrically induced adhesive debonding that uses low voltage current to release batteries, making professional battery replacement easier even if user replacement is not required. Mid-range and budget devices that can hit the durability threshold will need modular designs with accessible batteries. So the trade-offs are definitely real. Devices might get slightly thicker. Water resistance requires rethinking if backs need to pop off with screwdrivers. But Right to Repair Europe has flagged concerns that the exemption creates a two-tier system. Premium devices escape user replaceability requirements, while budget phones bear the compliance burden. That is the opposite of the intended outcome if the goal is reducing e-waste across all price points. The software support piece remains the harder challenge, of course. You can mandate replaceable batteries and spare parts availability, but you cannot really force chip makers to support old processors indefinitely. Qualcomm and MediaTek control how long Android devices can receive updates based on chipset support timelines. Unless EU regulations extend up the supply chain to component manufacturers, software will age out before hardware fails, even with fresh batteries. The actual mechanism at work is that the regulation isn't forcing manufacturers to build worse products, it's rewarding them for building better ones. If your battery lasts 1,000 cycles, you're exempt. If it doesn't, you redesign for replaceability. The incentive structure pushes towards durability either way, whether that manifests as longer-lasting sealed batteries or easily swappable modular ones. The end result is phones that function longer before replacement. NATO just picked Sweden over Boeing for a €6 billion defense contract after 40 years of Boeing monopoly, by the way. We analyze why American suppliers are losing European deals in the video on your screen right now. It's definitely worth watching because the pattern of European institutions choosing non-US alternatives is spreading across sectors faster than most people expect. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one.